Yeah.
Hey, dreamers. How are you this evening?
Hello, everyone.
I know that I just always expect someone to be just waiting right there saying, "Oh, hi back," but I just wait a few minutes. So we are on tonight, Tuesdays with Jenni and Kim. We're just going to call it that now, not just Tuesdays with Jenni.
Anybody else wants to join?
I know, right? Just Tuesdays with Jenni.
Maybe
Oh,
a couple of like our girls will
maybe we
come
could
on
rope
with
somebody
them.
into just having a conversation with us. But everyone I talk to, it's not that they don't want to have conversations, is they're nervous being on video. I'm like, well, you don't see yourself on Facebook until
Yeah,
after, or YouTube until after.
yeah.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi,
Um,
Lynn.
you're
Hi,
actually just
Sherry.
seeing us. Hi, Shelley. It
Happy.
is
Yep.
International Women's Day. We had one of our town councilors out here today, and I got to be part of a thing she's putting together for International Women's Day.
Oh, very
So,
nice.
yeah, she took a picture of me in the salt room holding up a I support women kind of.
Very cool.
Oh, hi, Sassy. Okay, so we do have a few ladies. We are talking about triggers tonight. Last week when we talked about, I don't remember, Kim always says, "What's our topic next week?" And I don't ever usually know.
The backwards law.
The backwards law. Yes, okay. So, hi, Catherine. I'm like, hey, do you have any ideas? Or do you have any suggestions? And she thought triggers might be a good thing to talk about. So, of course, I'm like, okay, I'll go into meditation and see what they have to guide me with today on triggers. And I don't know, how many pages did you get?
I think 7 I printed.
There might be 7 pages on
Yeah.
triggers. And so,
I think it's a good time to talk about triggers because everybody just thinks it's triggers, like, just talking to somebody you get triggered, but it's the world. It could be
yes,
anything and
it's
everything.
more than
So,
what we think. Hi, Gabby.
hi, Gabby. Yeah, so, I just think that is more than what a lot of us think about triggers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the new energy, and there's, another full moon coming, and we're going back to this
The
again.
moon phases do something to us, and
Hmm.
planetary energies do something to us. When I talk about planetary, I don't just mean the planets out there, right?
Yes,
I mean the actual energy on top of this planet. So the planetary energy we're actually living in. And we all know what those things are. It's hard to talk about some of them, but they're actually triggers as well.
hmm,
And then we were talking earlier, what is a trigger really? Like in life, are they emotionally? Are they mental? Are they physical? Are they spiritual? And then we all kind of like have to sit in it for a moment and say, "Oh my God,
hmm.
something happens in life, right?" We're like, "Oh my God, that triggered me." But did it? Did it trigger you, or did we really trigger ourselves with a memory from so long ago that's a reminder or a response? Now we've given that thing life, and that is now the trigger. So,
Absolutely.
so we're actually our own trigger because we pull on a memory.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, for
Does that
sure.
make any sense? The actual trigger is something that gets set off, right?
Yes.
Something that happens.
It's a reaction,
Yes.
to a topic or to a situation or whatever. It's
Right.
just having an emotional reaction. But we do have to know the difference. And like I was saying earlier with you, we do have to know the difference between a trigger or just feeling uncomfortable in a situation.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So I have an example of a client that I had in here, and she said, "Oh, she disassociates." So she was warning me, right? And then I'm starting to smudge her with sage, white sage, and she's like, "Oh my God!" At the end, right? I can tell she's having some kind of reaction or response during the. So I just kind of like ask her to breathe deeper and focus on what's happening right now. So at the end of
Hmm.
the treatment, she actually said that she had a reaction or a traumatic event around marijuana. And now the scent of sage actually is triggering her.
Hmm.
So I kind of try to get her to understand it's not the sage that's triggering her, it's the memory. And as soon as you smelled that, you recalled the memory, then you gave it life, and then it attaches an emotion, and then it attaches a mental state of mind, and then it goes into our physical body, and we have a physical response. So the trigger isn't actually the sage. The trigger is us.
Yeah. And we like it, how am I going to say this? It's like we're prompting our emotions to go higher. Like we're
Right.
we're bringing it on ourselves, right?
Yes,
Yeah, like
absolutely.
it's anything that prompts like an increase of return of emotion. So, like
Yeah.
from, something like, okay, so something happened today, but there was, it could be a trigger from 25 years ago, and you still feel that anxiety, and maybe you want to change it. Like
Yeah,
this
you
happened.
express. Yeah.
Yep, this happened. So you get triggered to a part of your life that maybe you thought you worked through and whatever, and then all of a sudden 25 years later you get this trigger.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
will say that when this happened to me, and this is recent, when this happened to me, I wanted to go in and change that emotion. I wanted to go in and change that what happened 25 years ago. You can't. It happened. It's already done. It's in the books. It's done. It's over. But I wanted in that moment to actually change it, if that
Right.
makes sense, right?
It
Like,
does. Yes.
and I
However, you
didn't, and I just had to, like be mad at me, and I did the pouty face, and I did the whole thing. But but that's exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to go in and change that memory. I wanted to go in and change. I felt like I didn't stand up for myself with somebody 25 years
right.
ago, and then when it happened again, I felt like, oh boy, I want to go in and change this memory, but you cannot. So then
No.
I had to like step back, step out of it, step way out of it.
Well, it's so funny. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You recognized it,
Yeah.
right? That
Oh yeah.
you're recognizing yourself being triggered or that you
Mhm.
had a trigger. And then you seeked out the source. So you knew exactly where it came from.
Yeah.
And then you were aware of it projecting out of you, right? Because you said you were angry and you
Mhm.
were in the moment. And then you noticed your hypersensitivity stuff
Oh,
around you. Then you decided to talk to your inner voice. You're using your inner
yes.
voice and letting yourself know that, okay, I'm having a trigger. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
practice showing your emotions,
And
recognize it.
I did. And I
Yes.
like it felt like I was sitting, and I felt like I was like, when you see the TV show, like turn the camera both, like I felt like I was
Right.
talking to myself about it. Like, you know better than that. Like it's a trigger. So we just let it go. You can't go back and change things, and you just gotta
So true.
go outside and scream, punch a pillow, do whatever you gotta do, like, eat a big chocolate cake, whatever you gotta do to like get rid of this crap, because
Yes.
that's exactly what it was. And
So when you take yourself back to that moment, do you know what happened to make it a trigger?
when I
Right?
go back to the moment that
To way
recently
back when you
happened.
were a child.
Okay,
Okay.
so, well, 25 years ago, I wish I was a
Right.
child.
Well,
um
when you were younger,
yes,
let's say.
I
Okay.
would I would do any, like, I just feel like I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't
Okay.
voice,
So that puts you in the instant anger trigger.
yeah, because
Instant.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you get mad at yourself for not, say you're in a relationship, and it's not good, and
Yep.
but you want to go, like, I want to go back to that 20 something year old girl and say, stand up for yourself. Don't let this happen again. Like da da da, and get
Right.
get on it about it. But I'm spending too much time on this. It's like done.
Right?
Like, why am
Yes,
I wasting my
you're giving it
energy on
so
this?
much power.
Yeah.
But
So I think it's important. That's why when we talked about today, I think it was important that we share these feelings, because we're human, and other people understand that it's normal. So I don't mind being the guinea pig and sharing my
oh,
crap, but that's exactly what it is. It's like, why
yeah.
am I wasting more than a minute on this? It happened. It's gone. It's done. I'm a
Yeah.
better person. I'm a stronger person, and I know that.
Right. And what triggers don't ever go away, just so you know. They
Yeah.
dissipate and then we gain a perspective on them, but they don't ever just disappear because every single day you're
Hmm.
getting re-triggered.
Yeah.
Like I even had an example earlier about when you go to the doctor's office and then you're in the doctor's office and you're having an emotional response to something.
Hmm.
The doctor's office isn't the trigger yet. You're just having an emotional response. So then the emotional response turns into the trigger once you give it life, right?
Yeah.
So you have an emotion and it sets into your body. And then that gives you some kind of physical sensation. That
Hmm.
leads you to have a trigger in an emotional response. And then once you have the emotional and the physical, now it's kind of like it's attaching to your mental. And now you have created 3 triggers within one trigger. And now the doctor's office is triggering you in 3
Yeah.
different ways.
Now you just added that into your list.
Right? Right? So now you just gave your whole day,
Yeah. Yep.
all the power of your whole day to that visit at the doctor's office, when really you went in there and just had an emotional response. You could have just been
Yeah.
seeing someone in there that was sad or unhappy and you just wanted to comfort them, but that set you into a different trigger from your childhood,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yes.
Kim was way back 25 years ago, just I don't know, what, 2 days ago?
And you know what? Like you could too. Like I haven't had any triggers show up that I wasn't aware of.
Right.
Right? Like
Okay.
you think you know all your triggers. You think like, like I know I'm scared of spiders. That's one of my triggers. I know I'm scared of fire. That's one of my triggers. Like I'm aware of these triggers, but another new trigger showed up for me. And it's a fear. And I never knew I
Yep.
had this fear until like a couple days ago. And now I have
Right.
like this whole thing, like I'm just like, where did this even come from?
Yes.
Right?
And so now you have to find its source. And until you find its source and work through the source,
Mm-hmm.
you will continuously be triggered with it. And
Oh
then it
yeah.
has power over you.
Oh
And so
yeah.
now something so minute has all the power. And
Mm-hmm.
then your mind constantly thinks about it. I hope I don't run into this. I hope I don't see this. I hope I don't have this experience. So now you're just like on edge, right? Just like Catherine said, being a walking
I'm
trigger.
just yeah, I just
The trigger.
maybe you should read I can't yeah.
Oh,
Marty.
okay. So Marty said for her, triggers come in past, present, and future.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And working on all these and placing them in the proper situations. Definitely the future because that is out of my control.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, as is the past,
Yeah.
right? So shadow work has helped her through it.
Mm-hmm.
But still have lots to go. Absolutely, we all
We
have
all
lots to
do.
go.
We all do.
Childhood straight through to adulthood, right into
Yeah.
like haven't even gotten somewhere yet where
Yeah.
as a senior we could be triggered still by childhood memories
Oh,
and
absolutely.
smells and reactions. And then Catherine gets her unresolved triggers come out in anger. She was a rageaholic and a walking trigger, and she kept
Mm-hmm.
a anger journal. And then Gabby says, "How do I find the source of the trigger?" With a question mark meditation.
Mm.
Well, that is individual for each person.
Yeah.
We can't really say meditation will help you find your trigger. Actually, just being in the moment of something and taking a breath, recognizing it, paying attention to all the sensations in your body will
Yeah.
help give you the source of your trigger.
Like being triggered too. So I didn't know I had a fear of falling.
Right.
Right. So I
Right. Yep.
okay. So and then so she said, "How do I find the source of the trigger?" So I found the source of the trigger. I realized why. So I asked myself in that moment when I stepped back and realized that falling was a fear for me. I stepped back and I said, "Okay, what in my life has made me scared of falling?" So then I think back, right?
Hmm.
So having older parents that would fall. I had a stepson that fell and broke a hip. I have, when I worked as a PSW, and people fall all the time,
So
and
those are called external
that's
triggers.
exactly what it was. And I didn't realize that I was holding all those memories, the past like whatever 10 years
Right.
and I made it into like a trigger now. So now I have to work on letting the fear go because it's not doing me any good. So it doesn't serve me. I don't need it.
That's right.
Right. So
So
that,
it's actually conscious mind work,
yeah.
Gabby. It's actually thinking
Yep.
about it in the moment. It's
Yep.
not subconscious stuff. It's in our subconscious mind,
No.
but it's
Oh,
actually
yep.
something you're doing
No.
consciously and paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you said something about in a relationship stuff,
Mm-hmm.
those are huge triggers for people, right? Because you might be in a relationship and the relationship might be the trigger, and the truth of the relationship might actually be the trigger. So
Right.
we all know that one person that doesn't like hearing the truth, right?
Truth.
Just tell me the truth. Tell me what you really think. And then you tell them, and then that triggers them. And you could actually trigger yourself because you're being a truth teller.
Yeah.
Right? So all of a sudden, you could now be triggered by someone saying the truth because every time you tell someone the truth, they're triggered and they get upset that you've told them the truth.
Yes. And so many people do that.
Right? And
You
so
know,
you've
it's like, you
activated it.
can't handle the truth. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Catherine, I was taught to suppress emotions as a child,
Mhm.
so I had to differentiate.
Yep.
Did a mad, glad, sad journal, and that came out as anger. Under another of my anger was fear and sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, there's like categories and subcategories and subtitles and all kinds of stuff where the triggers actually lie, right? Where the original
Yeah.
trigger came from. So it just
Yeah.
gets covered up by this and covered up by that and covered up by
Yeah.
this. And
And
then,
I brought on my own triggers. That's
oh, we all bring on our own
Yeah,
triggers.
nobody is responsible for that.
Yes.
You have your own crap that you have to deal with. That's not
Yes.
somebody else. That somebody's just having a conversation with you, and it might be a word or something or a gesture that they say, or even a joke, and
Right.
then something switches in your brain, and you're like, wait a minute, right? That's not that person's fault. They have no idea what goes on in your past life and your life
In
now,
your head.
stuff like
Right?
that.
So
You
they're
don't
just
know.
being who they are, doing what they're
Yeah.
doing,
So
and
we
you
have to
get
take
triggered by it.
responsibility for it.
Yes, we have to own it all.
Like
Own
I've
it
heard so
all.
many times, like that person triggers me. That person, gets under my skin.
And it's not even that person.
Yeah.
It's you pulling on a memory. Yes, that is so true. So we already said triggers can never go away because just when you
Yeah.
release one or
Another
you
one starts.
recognize it,
Yeah.
something else surfaces. You can get cut off by someone in traffic, and
Yeah.
that throws you into a memory and a response that comes up into your body and mind. All of a sudden, you're triggered. That person did not trigger you. The
Hmm.
experience reminded you of something, and you triggered yourself. I
Yes.
think it's so hard to just think of, oh man, everything that's ever happened is everything I've been triggered by has just been triggered. It was me all along.
Yeah.
That's a harsh realization,
It's like
right?
it's like so do you think like our soul doesn't want to release it until we work through it? Is that what
Yeah,
it Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking too, is that
yeah.
we have to work through it. That's why when we talk about past lives that come through to now and they carry all these emotions with them as well, that's up to
Yes,
us to work through to get over.
yes, and there's
Right?
so many ways you can do that. We talked
Yeah.
about it earlier that
Yeah.
to release some of those discordant energies through your past lives that keep you triggering yourself here in this life, you can do things to do that, like past life regressions. You can do SRT sessions. You can do Akashic record stuff. You can actually go into all those past lives so you can rid yourself of the original source from lifetimes ago. And then you
Mm-hmm.
can really just focus on what's going on right now in this present moment, because that's really what matters is what's happening right now. That's how you move through emotions. That's how you don't let them settle into your physical body. So you carry it into your senior years,
Yeah.
right? And then something happens in your senior years and 25 years ago, right? You're back at that point again. And it's like, damn, I thought I did the work. See, how I respond to triggers is,
Yes.
and many, many people know this, I just remove myself. When something has created myself to trigger myself, I remove myself from the space.
Okay, so before you were an angel, how about did you ever get angry like before you learned, I know
I was an
people like me
angel.
now, like, you don't you
Okay, so
float.
there probably was a few times in my life that I I was still always mindful, like I was doing the Eckhart thing of
Mm,
paying attention to what I was paying attention to, noticing what I was noticing. So I was stepping back a lot. But there
mhm.
was one time that someone just did something, and I'm like, you know what? You get that out of my space.
There
And
you go, everybody. You see
right?
Jenny,
There
Jenny.
was there was just this, and I actually picked up the item and threw it out in his truck. This was many, many years ago
Yeah.
now, though. And when I think back to that moment, something in myself shifted from noticing what I was noticing and just holding space for myself to off my access into that moment. And I got fueled by that. that
Right.
anger that was being emanated from that person. It
Yeah.
just finally just penetrated my defenses, and I just
Yeah. Yeah.
reminded me that I'm still in a human body, right?
Absolutely. And I think too, you have to remember that once you're irritated and have been triggered, then it feels like you're dodging bullets
Oh, definitely. It's like,
left
whoo,
and
whoo,
right.
whoo,
It
whoo.
was
Like,
when you get irritated and everything just makes you, that's
yes.
how, like, for myself, for when I go through one of these, that's how I feel. Like I'm just dodging bullets, like
And it
everybody.
can send you into a panic attack,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
triggers can do
Yeah.
that for you.
Yeah.
So if you can really bring yourself to the present moment, which I
Hmm.
know can be really, really hard when everything's getting thrown at you like that. You're feeling it physically, mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
spiritually. It's just like, what the? Just
What the
try to
bleep
take a moment. And because as soon as I actually reacted, because I didn't respond in that moment,
Yeah.
I actually took myself back out of it. Like it
Yeah.
was an instant of it happening, and then I removed myself again from the situation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For my whole life, I'll just be like, no, I'll be back. Or
Mhm.
I won't be back. I'm leaving now. Or I
Right.
just leave no, like, just with no words. It's just gone. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You
that
have to
has
take
been a
care of
trait.
yourself.
Yeah,
That's up to you to take care of yourself when you have triggers. So you have to
definitely.
decide how you're going to deal with it, whether it's remove yourself
Yes.
from the situation or the
Yeah.
person or the place, or whether it be internal or external. So
Mhm.
internal is like your memory, your
Yep.
physical sensation, stuff like that. But external, is the person, place, thing,
Yep.
right?
For a very long time, it was directed at me that I was in avoidance. I was
Mm-hmm.
avoiding something. And
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, I was not avoiding anything because I was recognizing that I was already the trigger, right?
Right.
Some form of me realized that if I respond or react in a certain way, then I create a trigger within myself and I become the trigger. So I don't feel that I avoided anything. There was no
Right.
avoidance there. It was actually more mental health by stepping out of it.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, if you have to take yourself out of the present moment to be in the present moment, go for it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I did witness you leave the space for a short period of time because I feel like your trigger happened before it actually happened,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
right? There
You know
was a
what? Yeah.
process of it opening up
I
and
have been feeling triggers, like I will say all week, like
right.
last week,
Okay.
I was feeling off.
Right.
And that's okay. You're allowed. You're
You're
gonna
definitely allowed that. And
have
because
off days. Yeah.
there's no timeline how long a trigger lasts. So
Mm-mm.
Kim's trigger at this day, this afternoon or whatever, actually might not even have started there. It might have started last week when she was feeling off. And
Yeah.
it just came to head right at that moment for her to like set herself in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense, because a lot of times too, like I've said many times, especially women, we shove all of our feelings down
Stuff it
into
down in there. Yeah.
shove it,
Yeah.
shove it. And then you get that one trigger and it's like, look out, world.
Here it goes.
Hold my earrings.
And then all kinds of stuff comes up after that, right? But
Yeah.
things come up
Yeah.
to be released.
It's
We
life.
now know that.
It's just life, and it's okay. It's what
Yeah.
we do with it that matters.
Yes.
How we handle it,
Yes.
how we don't hold on to it, how we release it, we send it, we let go, let God,
Let go and let God. That's right.
right?
Awesome. So, all of that being said, these ladies have given some really good tips on how they've dealt
Yeah.
with their triggers.
Yep.
In my experience, the best way is to just recognize it in the moment. And just, if you gotta calm yourself down, you can place your hand on your heart and just give yourself a little bit of love in the moment. Because really, you just need the support while you're there in it. If there's no one around to support you and recognizing your trigger, support your damn self.
Hmm.
I mean, honestly, just love up on yourself. Be gentle with yourself, even in your triggers.
Yes. Be very
Because
gentle.
there's different degrees of triggers too, right? We talked about the mental and emotional and whatever, but there's a separate one for spiritual. I don't know if you
Hmm.
know that. Like when you have spiritual triggers, it's meant to awaken you to your inner knowing, right? So you could have a breakdown, but the breakdown in turn helps you go more in depth with yourself, right?
Hmm.
So you're your own trigger to set yourself on your own spiritual journey.
Yeah.
There's just like a threshold right? That you're breaking
Yeah.
past and into,
I absolutely.
right?
Mhm.
Some people call them like spiritual crises, right?
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Surrender,
Surrender.
surrender.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Amen. Amen. That's exactly what it's about. It's surrender.
That surrendering helps the illusion of the trigger melt away. So when you surrender to it, you're just in it, you're recognizing it, and there you go.
Mhm.
It just
Yeah.
passes that much faster.
Yep.
Right.
And
So,
go ahead.
what's the triggers today for most people? Right? Aside from our own that we've created in our life or we've grabbed onto from childhood and young adulthood, it's world stuff, right? It's definite things around the world are triggering people over top of other triggers.
Mhm.
Political debates, world issues. I don't even want to bring up Ukraine, but that is happening, right? So that is triggering people, and it triggered something in you just last week.
See, that's what I mean. Last week was just a rough
Hopelessness,
week. I
sadness.
was so sad, and I still am. But oh my goodness, the like dragging my butt sad. Like I am so, and just talking about it is,
Makes you sad. It's a trigger, right? So,
yeah,
us listening to her, we can just support her in that
yeah.
because for us that
Hold space. Yeah.
might be a small thing, but for her it's a
Well,
big thing.
a lot of people don't know what holding space means.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm having a trigger and I
Yep.
tell you, and you know that I've been having a hard time this last week, whatever. So, we hold space for each other because
Yes.
we can't fix each other.
No.
Jenny can't fix my fears. I
No.
have to work on that, but we can hold space for
For
each other.
yes.
Yeah, explain that to, because I
Okay.
don't think people understand completely
Well,
what
in
holding space
holding space is just that. You're not giving suggestions, you're not telling someone anything, you're not coaching them through their trigger or panic attack or whatever is happening. You're actually just holding them in your heart and you're holding space and recognizing them in the moment. You're saying, "I see you. I see what's happening and
is.
I'm right here for you."
Hmm.
That's it. That's all you're doing. That's what you're doing, holding space. And sometimes holding space is in someone's hole. You got to go get down in their hole with them. And sometimes it's like giving them out of their hole. You're waiting for them.
Yeah.
And that's with zero expectations of how they should get through something or telling them that they're strong or that they're, "Oh, you got this," or any of those
Yeah.
things, right? It's just like, you have skills to get through this. Yeah, I do. Do you know where they are right now?
Yeah. I can't seem
'Cause
to find them. Where are they?
I don't have them. Right? So holding space literally is just being there for someone.
Yeah. And
Yep.
that's so important. So important.
Holding the box for them until they reach for the Kleenex themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
that's holding space too. It's not like, here's Kleenex, please stop crying because I don't know what to do for you. You're
Right.
stopping the process of
Yeah.
something happening for them. It's
Hmm.
just, I got the box of Kleenex. So whenever you're ready, you take
Hmm.
it from me. Right? Because in turn, they're going to be holding the box of Kleenex for you one day. And you don't want them
Absolutely.
to stop it for you either.
No.
So I
No.
hope I explained that right.
Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people have asked me, when we've talked about it before, and not really went into detail about holding space, like,
Right.
during your surgery, your almost birthday surgery.
Yeah.
A lot of the people held space.
Yes.
They didn't get involved in Jenny's healing. They didn't get involved with the
But I
doctor.
also had to direct that, right? Because there was going to
Yes,
be a healing circle that sent stuff.
yes.
So I had to really say what I wanted to happen. Sure,
Mhm,
there's a small window for you guys to send the love, but
mhm.
after that, hold space because I
Yeah,
still need to do what I need to do. The doctors need to do what they need to
yeah,
do. And there was stuff happening. So you can't get in the way of that stuff happening.
yeah. There's a reason why we experience
Yes.
everything. So we're talking about
Yeah.
triggers. There's a reason why we're experiencing it. It's a lesson. It's part of the journey. It's whatever it may be. We just have to go with it. Just go with the
Absolutely.
flow and let it work its way out. And for me, it's just about worrying about people that are going through this and them not having that person to help them during it. So I
Right.
ask when we do this that, everybody,
Hold
send your,
space.
yes, talk to your friends, maybe they're having a rough time, and just hold space if that's what they need. But I just feel like in the world right now, it's so crazy and chaos and emotions and just everything that I really think that we need to be checking on our neighbors, our
Yeah.
people. And
Checking in on everybody.
yeah, because everybody I'm sure is going through different phases and triggers and whatever it may be. So
And
just
that can send you into anxiety.
mhm,
Right? If you never had anxiety and all of a sudden you're fighting, you're having all these triggers right now and you don't understand what we understand about triggers,
yeah,
then noticing what we know from a distance, we can actually help them with that.
mhm,
Right? We can just hold
mhm,
space, be there for them, check in on them. You okay? Everything
yeah,
cool?
yeah, exactly,
Just because
absolutely,
they can't reach out to you or articulate to you what's happening, if you're good at it, hold space for them and let them know you're doing it, right? And you really do feel the energy. You feel it when someone's holding loving space for you.
yeah, you
Definitely.
absolutely will. Yeah, little heart bubbles all around.
As much as you feel them being directing other things at you, you can feel
Yeah,
the love too. And all that love can sometimes be a little overwhelming too.
hmm,
So keep in mind you don't have to be constant with it. You can actually
yeah,
just let them know you're holding space, you're here. I got this over here, Kleenex
hmm,
for you whenever you're ready.
yeah,
And then let it go for a little bit. Let them have their process because overwhelming amounts of joy can create a trigger as well.
yes,
Actually be your own trigger in like my cup runneth over kind of
yes,
stuff,
yes,
right?
yeah.
So that's my take on all this stuff.
Yeah, triggers
Right.
are good triggers, bad triggers, they're all over. Doesn't
Yes.
always have to be negative,
No, no.
right? Like
Uh,
everybody, talks about fears and stuff, but yeah, it's just one of those things that everybody has to, make sure that this is self care. Make
And
sure you're
it's
thinking,
absolutely part of self-care, for sure. There's so many levels of self-care that, self-care is not just one thing. It's like a million things. It's wellness. Wellness is self-care.
yeah,
Self-care is wellness, and that's a huge umbrella. Huge.
mm-hmm,
Yes. Okay. So I did say that I was going to be on here making an announcement. I don't know how much more trigger information we want to share. I I went through all my notes and we touched on all of them, not in the same order that I had them, but we did
yeah,
touch on
no,
all
yeah.
of them. I don't know if
Seems
you
to
had more
me
to touch.
probably confusing and jumping.
Well, if you watch this a couple times over and over again, you might get the gist of it.
What's your news?
Oh, you're done with triggers too?
I thought we were moving on.
No, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have anything else to share
No,
before.
I mean, if it, like again, Jenny and I have talked a few times about trying to get like a group, like a circle, like a support group
Yes.
or something like that. And it'll get there.
Yes,
We'll
I've
get
been
there.
trying to get that group going for almost 5 years now.
I know we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it, but
I feel like sometimes this video is the support group.
yeah, well, and yeah, that's exactly it. But now that we're allowed to be in person and see people, I look
Yes.
forward to actually being, in person and seeing people, as long as everybody checks their energy.
Yes, there'll be a spray at the door. Check your energy at the door.
Yeah. So yeah, what's your news? Because we'll have to wait for your things.
Well, I almost didn't want to
Oh,
announce my news today,
okay.
but I am going to announce it
Oh,
because
you
then it
okay? Cool.
sets it into motion. So, for a few years now, everyone knows that the tree is expanding and the tree now will finally be moving. So, we have a new location that we will be moving the tree to.
Yay! Good for
Um,
you.
April 1st, you will meet the new tree energy at the new location. So I will post the new location probably tomorrow afternoon. It's still here in Harrow, so we're not moving anywhere. just picking up our roots and walking down the street.
Congratulations, Jenny.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm very, very happy for you. I know that this has been something you've wanted to do for a while since I've known you personally.
Yep.
So congratulations. Good on you.
Thank you. Well, we'd wanted to move before, and of course, COVID came and went, and that made it difficult to find a location. And then we had looked at another location, and that location never actually came to fruition, right? So while that was, just I just recreated the space here to make it more. Yeah, I'm still
Oh,
here.
thank God. Yeah.
Yes. COVID happened. You got to actually change with what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do and make things work, right? So instead of me feeling restricted, I took that in a different direction and redirected it all so we could still be here, right? And now it's actually time to relocate, and the location that I've always wanted is now available. That's all I'm going to say.
Good job.
There'll be pictures posted, so you will see the front of the building, and you will get the address and everything tomorrow.
That's so exciting.
Yes. Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
Yes.
So excited for you, Jenny.
Me too. Me too.
Change is always good.
Changes, growth, yes, expansion in so many ways. Yes.
And she's not leaving us. It's like, oh God, no. You can't leave us.
No, not yet. There's been some talk about that. So thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so Friday is both of our big day. It's a big day on Friday. It's a year's anniversary for my heart surgery. And it is also Kim's birthday. So I get to celebrate my first year with a new soul plan and a new fixed heart on Kim's birthday.
That's so exciting.
So I'm happy that she's sharing it with me, actually.
Mm-hmm. That was exciting last year when we knew that it was going to be on my birthday. I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's so, yeah. Good week. It's a good week,
Yes.
right? See, we always have that bond. Her new heart and my birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah. Yeah. I was like sharing with a friend earlier today that I just had some questions about it. Feeling great. I don't know if it looks it yet, but I'm finally feeling great. Took a while to get to that. When they say a year, they actually really mean a year in all aspects of it. And I'm curious about some things. When your heart gets fixed like that, what could happen if your heart is so fixed it just blows out one of those little umbrellas? Where does it go? If some of you don't know, like I had multiple holes in my heart, so they put these little devices in there with tiny umbrellas to seal it. So thank you.
Happy birthday, Gabby. It's Gabby's birthday on
Happy birthday, Gabby.
Saturday.
Yeah, exciting. I just wonder, where do they go? If all of a sudden your heart actually heals itself, does it push that little device out, or what?
You
And then
didn't ask your doctor that? That wasn't
well,
something.
well, honestly, I haven't seen him.
Oh,
You're really left to your own defenses after certain surgeries.
interesting.
Telephone appointment with him since my surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's been nothing else, no interaction, no seeing. So I'm curious to like get him in person and say, what happens if this happens? Has it ever happened? I'm curious.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I know about other types of surgeries, what they do, but
Yeah.
I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
Very curious.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yes.
But yes, it'll be a good
Yes.
happy birthday heart.
It is. Yes.
Yeah, I'm excited. Very nice.
Okay, so that's our talk Tuesdays with Jenni and Kim this week on triggers and a little bit of exciting news at the end of us just chatting the way we chat.
Yeah. Yep, that's great. No questions? Everybody's good?
Yes.
Looks
I don't
like
see
it.
any questions coming up.
No?
No. Not at all. Awesome. And for all your interaction tonight and sharing all of your stuff with us.
Yes.
That's an honor to.
Yeah. I like when the we get the sharing and that kind of thing. So
Right.
you know, I like hearing other people's ideas and thoughts about, you know, topics, all topics. Always love hearing other people's ideas. But
Right.
we're doing this and they're able to interact with us, you know, hopefully soon, you know, we'll start doing more in person.
Yes, hopefully.
But yeah.
It's hard to do evenings in person though when it gets dark so early in the night,
Well,
right?
we're
People are,
almost in
we are shifting
oh,
into
this Sunday.
spring. Oh,
This Sunday
yes.
we're changing time.
Yes. So like it's always hard for people, right? They just get home, they make dinner, and it's just dark. So why do I need to go
Yeah.
out right now?
Yeah.
So in the spring and summer, as we'll have more stuff under the tree in person.
Yeah, and we won't be like in our PJs.
I, yeah, there's no guarantee about that. Like I don't see why we can't be in our PJs right now.
I won't go out in my PJs.
All right then.
All
It
right.
might just be me.
Yeah. So if anybody, again, like we always say, if anybody has, you know, thoughts, questions, they just want to release, vent, you know where we're at.
Yep, you know where we're at, and if you want to put it this video, that's great because I do go back and check and see if I haven't responded to someone or I didn't
Mhm.
get their message, so I will get it, or stop in under the tree.
Yeah.
Right? Just,
Go visit. Jenny's got
um,
some beautiful crystals and tea.
yes,
Oh, the tea is so good.
yes. I actually just had a shipment of tea come in yesterday, and it all sold yesterday. So,
Mhm.
like, I called my girl and I said, "Can I pick it up?" Because it just all sold out.
Wow.
So there is always like a turnover of fresh stuff coming in and out. They
Good.
actually blend it in small batches for me, so it's not like prepackaged for months on end. The tea shop has fresh ingredients. I call them, they blend it, I get it the same day or the next day,
Nice.
and then it's
Very
from
nice.
us. So yeah,
Good.
quality's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we will hopefully see some of you under the tree very
Yes,
soon.
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jenny.
Enjoy your evening.